Hello friends, welcome back to Sony Mind. Your high school teacher probably told you many times, drugs are bad, don't do drugs. And yes, they're right, drugs are indeed very bad. Today, I am telling you that psychological drugs are also bad, in which one should also not do it. Psychological drug is what I call any way of thinking that brings comfort at the moment, but causes serious psychological harm in the long run. One of the worst type of psychological drugs is self-pity. Self-pity is actively regurgitating that one has lots of misfortune. One's misfortune is totally unfair. Oneself is right, the world is wrong, and that one simply deserves endless sympathy without much further consideration, and that one is being self-righteous and believe that one can indulge whatever one wants to cope with this total victim status. Self-pity is one of the worst psychological drugs ever for several reasons. First, at the moment of thinking, it is extremely comforting, which encourages you to think in such way over and over again. And also, despite its seeming comfort at the surface level, it brings lots of negativity in your life, causing a general gloomy atmosphere that makes your life worse. Additionally, self-pity encourages unreasonable indulgence that are harmful for you in the long run. When you are believing that you are a victim, you will do whatever you want to try to feel better instead of plan how to make your life better. And self-pity also discourages using specific ways to improve your life in the long run in a healthy manner because you believe that being a victim is part of your fundamental identity and related to luck. In addition to the hard drug of self-pity, there are many other psychological drugs as well. For example, being addicted to a substance or behavior and feeling self-righteous about it, instead of trying to stop or at least manage the problem. Speaking of addiction, it's important to note that addiction is a major psychological condition and disease that must be dealt with professionally and scientifically, instead of being stigmatized or overcome simply through brute force perseverance like a North Korean soldier. Psychological drugs could also include following a cult, following a person with harmful objectives, scapegoating, or practicing a socially harmful ideology. If psychological drugs are very harmful, you might ask, what attitude can it take to make me feel better at the moment, yet also being healthy for the long run? You might have guessed optimism. However, in reality, optimism might not work because in many cases, the reality can be a glooming place with lots of suffering. Then what works? My suggestion is to take what I call a military officer's mindset, just like a military officer. It encompasses several points. First, recognize that the world is unfair and that life is not always fully pleasant and comfortable. Just like in the battlefield, a military officer knows that the enemy just want to attack you and don't care who is right, and that fighting wars and military missions are definitely not pleasant but very difficult. And also have contempt for the above problem, just like a military officer wants to kill his enemy. This contempt is very important because that aggression will give you the mental toughness you need to overcome the problem. Also, contempt helps you to delegitimize the problem. For example, if your mom rebukes you, then you'll probably be very sad. But if a random crazy person on the street yells at you aggressively, you might simply dismiss that person as interesting. Same idea with contempt for reality's problem. Maintain a malicious attitude and aggressive attitude on problems, which can both help you to vent your anger and help you to delegitimize problems. You deserve respect. Problems don't. And also, think rationally and scholarly, taking in account of many relevant factors to plan for the long-term picture. Just like a military officer thinking carefully about military sciences to prepare his battle plan. And last but not least, follow through your actions firmly, just like a military officer strictly obeying his orders. However, despite the above toughness, it is important to be flexible to changing circumstances, because the reality is very chaotic and can change suddenly. I hope that by refraining from taking psychological drugs and face problems with a military officer's mindset, I hope that your life can improve. If you like, don't forget to subscribe and make sure to watch my video about theoretical correctness versus practical correctness, and that whether you should accept or not accept the reality. Thank you.